Hello, everyone. My name's Neil. I'm on our product team here at OpenSpace, and I'm really excited to talk to you more about how our product is having an impact today and to share some exciting announcements with you about where we're headed. To give you a quick map about what we're going to cover, I wanted to reflect back on some of the themes that Jeevan just touched on. We're going to talk today about how our product today is delivering at scale, and specifically enterprise scale, for larger and larger projects, but also for organizations that are deploying OpenSpace across a larger number of projects. We're going to touch on productivity, or as Jeevan mentioned, how we can help you get things done more efficiently, but using the power of imagery that we help you collect through our platform. We're of course going to touch on AI. As Wes mentioned, we're really thinking about how to take AI and put it into your hands and make it useful, and to take some of these game-changing technologies, help them assist you, but also maybe get new insights about what's happening out in the field. And of course, we're going to touch on ROI really throughout the entire talk, because at the end of the day, if none of this actually helps you save money and helps you kind of improve the bottom line, then we're really not doing our job, and we really want to make sure that we're doing that. So with that, we've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to dive right in. So scale, I had to put this slide back up there just because the stats are really impressive, and we're really proud of this. The fact that we're up to over 250,000 active users, 37 billion square foot of coverage on our platform. This is really fantastic, and it continues to be a core theme of our entire R&D team to ensure that we can deliver at this scale. So as you're capturing more and more projects, we invest a ton of energy to make sure all that data that's coming through gets processed quickly and accurately, continue to maintain those incredible 15-minute turnaround times on average, as well as investments that continue to make the actual user experience scale as well. There's a few things I wanted to spotlight in that vein that include recent launches, things like our multi-floor capture feature, which makes it really, really simple and quick for you when you're capturing a large project, say with multiple floors, to start a capture and indicate that you want to move to a next sheet and to jump into that really quickly. So you don't have to stop a transfer and then continue on by having to make another click. It also includes our overhead capture feature, which makes it really easy to take above head captures and have all of that data seamlessly stored and recallable alongside the rest of your captures. It includes things like an updated minimap, that little square when you're walking around captures that allows you to understand exactly where things are at. And now it's we're expanding that, so that's another way you can navigate through the host of captures and field notes that you're collecting on your job sites. But all of this also includes just an easier way to administer as you're deploying across projects and adding all those new users in, how you can manage them cleanly, import users from other project management tools, and manage them in bulk, so you can make sure everyone that needs to have access really does. One-on-one, each of these improvements seem kind of small, but as they all come together, they really do add up to an easier and better way for you to deploy OpenSpace across projects, so you'll continue to see us investing in things like that. But ultimately, our real goal is to ensure that OpenSpace becomes this conduit of visual context of what's happening on a job site and connecting that in to your teams and the tools that you're using every day as an enterprise. And to this vein, I want to talk to you a little bit more now about what we're doing to make this vision more of a reality. To do that, I actually wanted to first spotlight a customer that's been with us for a really long time, and that's Rosen Electric, the top 3 electrical contract in the US, as indicated by ENR. They've got a really strong focus on large projects like data centers, some high-tech office space, but also some really cool projects like the renovation of Terminal 1 at SFO here in the Bay Area. As Rosen scaled with us over the last 4 years, they've gone from their first initial projects to now over 90 active projects where they're actively capturing and managing all the data flowing through OpenSpace so that they can continue to get visibility across all of these projects. And when you're operating at that scale, one of the most important things you want to be able to do, as we've talked with customers operating at that scale, is really just keep tabs on where captures are happening, where they're not happening, and ultimately, to that point on ROI, ensuring that the investment that you're making into a tool like OpenSpace is really paying off. So with that, Rosen was a great customer that piloted with us some new capabilities that we're about to launch a little bit more broadly within our usage APIs. What this really does is allow you to connect to OpenSpace via an API and grab a ton of really useful statistics. Things like where captures are happening, how often they're happening, how long captures, how the duration of captures that are being taken, and all of that accessible in a way where you can pull that into the tools of choice within your enterprise. These are all examples of dashboards that some of our pilot customers have made. And I wanted to quickly show you a little bit of what Rosendin specifically did in creating dashboards specific for every single site that they are capturing on, so then they can know when captures are happening, the trends along those captures, how long, and the durations of the captures that they actually made, but largely just giving them a site-by-site view of what's really happening. They also built aggregations of all of this so they can know trends across sites, when potentially that coverage of a particular site has declined, and ultimately just gives them the tools to really understand when and where things are happening. Again, super powerful because it allows across all 90 sites a centralized view of what's happening and allows folks across the organization to be able to have one place to look at everything that's happening inside of OpenSpace. As we partnered with Rosendin, specifically the data analyst team, Theodore here gave us a lot of great feedback and specifically mentioned how being able to keep tabs on not just any one tool, but really all tools being deployed in enterprise is really important. And Theodore works across all departments at Rosendin and really sort of appreciated the fact that this was a really great way to plug into, in their case, Power BI as the core tool that allows everyone across the organization to be able to see what's happening and to be able to come together when necessary to make sure things weren't happening correctly, that they could get that on track again. So it's really great to get that customer feedback that these users APIs is a great first step. And as I mentioned before, we've been in beta for a little while, but we're going to be expanding access more generally at the end of 2024 to this new API endpoint. That's a first step for us to get better connectivity into enterprises with OpenSpace. But what I'm really excited about what we're working on next. And really the core data elements inside of OpenSpace, the imagery that we collect, as well as the activity happening inside of field notes, is the next frontier for us to bring that data more directly into the tools that our customers, as well as potential partners, are interested in, so that we can, again, build the right tool stack for you to deploy OpenSpace across enterprises. The Images API in particular is an interesting one because it, again, allows us to start to pull OpenSpace imagery in new and exciting ways to deliver better value for you. And that's where I kind of want to head next. Jeevan talked about this a little bit, how we're really thinking about progress tracking as a critical enterprise workflow, and expanding the types of progress tracking solutions that we want to make available to you is a really big focus for us, especially as we think about deploying to larger enterprises. Now, we've been in the game for progress tracking for a little while. Our OpenSpace Track solution we see as a really useful and great way to think about progress in terms of quantities and mapping those quantities against sheets. A solution like that works really well, especially for our trades customers, but we've gotten tons of feedback. And what we've really learned is that different types of customers operating at different scales on different kinds of projects may need different types of solutions. And so what we're really excited about talking to you now is about milestone tracking, really a broadened offering that allows you to define and set milestones of your choice. In many cases, that could make sense to be scheduled milestones that you want to track against, and then effectively across pretty much anything happening on a project, being able to track progress against that and have that connected back to your schedule so all those milestones can be unified in terms of how you're viewing progress against them. So we're really excited about this, and in order to accomplish this, looking at using our Images API to build really strong partnerships within the ecosystem. And Jeevan teased this a bit, but Disperse is our partner of choice for milestone tracking, and they've been a friend of ours, and we've admired them for some time. They've been in the market for quite some time, and as Jeevan called it, a battle-hardened solution. We're really excited to bring the best of two worlds together. Our scaled capture platform, which really helps ensure you can get that critical data about what's happening on the field into our platform, but then to partner that up with Disperse's scaled progress tracking operation that allows us to give you the best of both worlds. When we think about a solution like this, why we're really excited about it: one, it's reliable, two, scaled solutions partnering together. Two, it's comprehensive. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what Disperse can actually track, but just think about it as anything happening that's visual on a job site, we can help you track progress against it. And three, it's really flexible. So whether it's a large project or a small one, whether you have specific customizations that may be necessary, we can accommodate for those as well. So how could a progress tracking solution like this really work? It's really quite simple. You would deploy OpenSpace and capture as you normally would on any project by which you want to have progress tracking. Behind the scenes, OpenSpace and Disperse will synchronize data with one another, no additional steps on your end. And then what you get as a result are dashboards of progress data that are accessible on the dispersed side, but also easily linked on OpenSpace as well. A solution like this doesn't require a BIM model, but if you have one, that's great. We can take it in and help accelerate the setup of a project. It connects to your schedule if you'd like. And again, you can define those milestones in any way for a specific project and tie those to the schedule if that's the best way to see this information. And dashboards are unified. So you have one place to look for anyone inside of the organization to know where things really at. And in terms of, again, the breadth and the scope of things that we can track, because Disperse has been working and refining their solution for so long, there's a huge host, there's a huge toolbox here of things that right out of the box we're compatible with. But once again, we can also customize when necessary for special situations. And so this is what we're really excited about, just right out of the gate, being able to track just about anything happening on large enterprise scale projects and combining that with OpenSpace such that you've got a really great enterprise scale solution for milestone tracking. So once you have this all set up, what's really powerful, again, is reporting, as we call it, in any level. So if you're thinking about reporting at the highest level of a project, say there are multiple buildings as part of a program, you can look at things at that level. You get great views around how you're progressing against schedule milestones, if that's the best view. But we've gotten a ton of great feedback from our early pilot customers on this view on the left that sort of gives you a building level view, floor by floor, which is really pretty incredible. And each of those little squares is actually a zone or a region inside of a floor that you can get both progress data on, as well as a week by week pace. So you can understand not just where progress is, but how that's trending. And those two data points across an entire building at any given time is a really powerful data set and a really powerful view upon which you can centralize everyone's attention. So you can know where to focus yourself, where things are going well, where things are going wrong. And again, we're really excited by the feedback we're hearing about this. So with this new offering, again, we're not just thinking about this in the short term. Disperse has been in the market for quite some time. Canary Wharf here shared a lot of their thoughts on just how well this has worked for them over the past number of years, which is, again, all of what we're really thinking about with enterprise scale. How do we take the best of what OpenSpace does and the best of what Disperse does, bring that together, serve it up to all of you, make that accessible to you so that if that makes the most sense for how you want to track progress, it's something you can deploy. So with that, again, super excited about where we're at. We're early right now in testing this out with some pilot customers. So we're remaining in a closed beta through Q4, but expecting to bring this available more widely at the beginning of next year. If you have interest in this, definitely reach out to your reps who can tell you a little bit more about the process to be considered, to be added to that beta. But again, we're really soon, very shortly, expecting to expand this to more and more customers. And bringing this back to enterprise scale, this is really one of the ways we expect to really help large-scale organizations standardize, capturing as a regular activity, as well as using a centralized view of progress to really keep everyone in sync on what's most important. So enterprise scale, big theme of ours, but love to shift gears and talk a little bit more about productivity. And with productivity, again, that may be a buzzword, but at the end of the day, if you can get the job done more quickly, more efficiently, that's really powerful. As we studied this problem, and we've had a lot of folks that have used tools and features in our current platform today, like field notes, that gave us a lot of indication that there's potentially more we can do. And one customer that ramped up with us earlier in the year is Intex, electrical contractor based in Texas. And as they were ramping up their capture procedures, we were speaking with them, and they were telling us quite a bit about how it was amazing to have this modern technology stack to get visual information off of a job site, where there were still so many aspects of their operation that seemed pretty basic and still running off of pen and paper. And as Intex works on a lot of projects that are municipalities, schools, some residential buildings as well, there are a lot of day-to-day tasks that literally required folks to walk the job site manually and just look at things on clipboards. So literally thinking about, hey, if we're walking a job site to inspect and validate that things are actually done correctly, someone's walking out there with the clipboard and they were literally carrying binders of these things across job sites to coordinate amongst teams. And we looked at that and just said, well, there are a lot of reasons why this is something that we can do better. And more importantly, why should OpenSpace participate in this? Because a lot of the problems Intex was facing was around sharing context of what was actually happening in the field. And an image, in many cases, is a better way to get the point across around, here's a particular issue. Oh, this is exactly what it looks like. Or here's an issue that is now complete and I have proof of that with the image that was taken. So as we were talking about that and thinking about where we could push some of our core capabilities around field notes, we took all of that feedback from Intex and other customers and decided to put together a new offering called Check Plus. And the way you should think about this is we're basically building a really flexible and powerful checklist capability directly into OpenSpace so that any sort of task that requires you to have a written record of what was done can be configured into OpenSpace. You could have someone log into their OpenSpace account and actually go and perform that checklist, whether or not you're capturing, but also tie all of that information about what was done to imagery and have all of that spatially tied together in our platform. So it's a really powerful combination of what we already do with additional capabilities that allow you to run these new workflows directly inside of OpenSpace. So what is that really going to look like? I've got a quick video here that'll walk you through. If you log into the mobile app and already have checklist configured, which again, we focus a lot on simplicity. You can choose the checklist that you're trying to do a walk for, tell us where you are on the job site initially, and then just walk as you normally would, say with the clipboard, and list off this passed, this failed. And again, everything is customizable, the questions you would ask, the responses. And at the time that say something fails, you can directly add an image while you're there so that that flows through as well. It can be a more efficient way of communicating. You can sign off on that checklist and all of that synchronizes back to the rest of your data on OpenSpace so that this lives alongside everything else that you're doing. And again, I mentioned this before, but all of these procedures when you're out in the field can be done whether or not you're actually, you have a camera on hand. So we're expanding access to OpenSpace and bringing in more context of what's happening in the field to larger and larger groups of folks within your organizations. And that's really our intent, was thinking about how we can help you get things done more efficiently with OpenSpace. So Intex, again, gave us a ton of feedback along the way. They've been really excited to move to a more digital form of working on QA/QC workflows, but also bringing imagery into the mix. And again, customers are really our guideposts as we're thinking about things like this, and we're really excited to get more of you in on this so we can continue to refine it. To that end, Check Plus is currently in beta. If you are interested in what you hear here, I've got a QR code so you can take a quick snapshot of that. I think we're going to post a link in the chat as well, such that if you're interested, let us know. We can try to get more people into the beta through the end of this year. We have plans to make this generally available as an add-on at the beginning of next year as well. And what you get out of the box are the full checklist capabilities, the ability to configure org level and project checklists, tying all of that information back to your captures and generating reports. All of this are part of the baseline capabilities. But what I also want to reinforce is that checklist is part of the overall platform that OpenSpace has to allow you to get work done. And we're continuing to invest as well, and you'll see here some additional improvements to our core field notes platform, including org-wide statuses and tags, as well as much more robust integration so that two-way synchronization between our field notes platform and other project management tools can happen more seamlessly. And so again, checklists, the beginning of us expanding into these workflows, and I wanted to continue to spotlight more of what we are doing on the field note platform overall. So what you'll see here in this video are enhancements you're going to start to see go live over the next coming months on field notes, where in this case we're creating an entirely new view that we call Field Note Explorer that allows you to, any field note that's taken, you can have an indexed view of that. You can sort, you can filter, you can generate reports off of all of your field notes. You can also manage them or make changes with them in bulk. So this really just now gives you a new window into looking across all of your field notes if you're starting to think about using them as an issue tracker, for instance. And again, this is capability that's going to be deployed to everyone using Capture and starting to think about using field notes a little bit more broadly. And to that same end, as more folks are using field notes, we're getting a lot of feedback on just how great it is, potentially as an issue tracking tool or as a tool to track and complete and show completion of a lot of the things that are being surfaced in field notes. And so we've gotten a lot of feedback around needing better visibility into all of the changes literally happening to field notes itself. And so we're excited to expand and invest in our core platform so that you have a true audit log of what is happening inside of field notes. So every action that's taken on field note, whether that's a status change or a comment that's made, you'll know who made that change and when that happened. And it gives you now a much more solid record of what happened inside of field notes. So if you're truly thinking about using these as an issue tracking tool, you have all the historical evidence that was necessary to really make that a reliable way to run that workflow. So in summary, with productivity, a lot of investment happening to start to test some of those new workflows. And again, excited to get folks into that check plus beta if that's of interest to you. So last theme that I want to focus on is AI and innovation. And as Jeevan mentioned, this is a really exciting area for us. We've worked on AI tools for quite some time, but there are some incredible things happening that have been happening over the past year that we want to talk to you about. And spatial AI, just as a quick reminder, is our encapsulation of that opportunity. There are inputs coming into our platform. Think of different pieces of context coming in from the job site that we're looking at continuing to expand, but also new technology, new forms of AI, like spatial computing and generative AI, that give us new insights and new context about what's happening on the job site. And what I wanted to focus on today was actually mobile photos specifically. And we've had mobile photos on our platform really for some time. Those field notes and checklists that we just talked about, you can snap photos from your phone and include those in those already. But what we want to do is start to think of mobile photos and make mobile photos really a first-class capture object in our platform as well. Because we've gotten a lot of feedback for some time that while even though customers may be capturing 2 to 3 times a week using a 360 camera, there are still hundreds of photos that are being taken on a job site from folks that don't have a 360 camera. And those photos potentially aren't really where they need to be to be useful. So day-to-day, people that have phones are constantly taking photos. Those photos will very commonly, as customers tell us, end up in places like a data store that looks something like this. And while that's stored, it's ultimately not useful because it's incredibly difficult to figure out how to come back to that. Some of you may laugh at the folder structure here, but this is literally the real folder structure that a customer told us is being used on one of their job sites. And so this is just a realistic interpretation of what it really feels like if you're taking all these photos. Even though you've taken them, if you can't get back to them, this is just really frustrating and not useful. And this is where we think there's a great opportunity and why we're investing in making mobile photos a first-class citizen alongside 360 captures as a tool to bring visual context into our platform. So what will this look like? Pretty simple, actually. Within the mobile app, we're making it easy for you to select a few images that are on your phone, upload those to OpenSpace, whichever project that you would like, and as those come into our system, we store them alongside, in a generalized way, all those 360 captures. Now, I mentioned before that just synchronizing images to the cloud, that's potentially useful, but not as useful as it really could be if you can actually organize that information and organize that visual data so that you can recall it. And this is where the magic of the OpenSpace platform and spatial AI really comes to play. So what really happens here is as that synchronizes to our back end, we can process that and index those against existing 360 captures. And if we find matches, we can automatically locate where those mobile photos were taken without you having to tell us. And that's really amazing, again, because knowing where that picture was taken and having it pinned automatically to a sheet makes it much easier to get back to that image. You know where it was taken, and potentially if you're looking at a sheet or a capture and you want to have an additional photo of what was going on in that space, it's already indexed there for you. And what's amazing about this is that the more you capture, the more 360 information that you have about a job site, the more commonly we're able to take these mobile photos and pin them automatically for you. Now, in the cases where maybe you haven't done 360 captures yet, we're going to make it really easy for you to pin these yourself in those sort of exception cases. But again, we're excited by the fact that we can make this as automated as possible, and AI really becomes an assistant here to take that data, frame it in a way where it can be recalled really easily, and for that to be even more useful for you. So now we'll have 360 captures as well as mobile photos of a space spatially and time indexed for you, and we're really excited about getting that into more customers' hands. But going even beyond that, as Jeevan mentioned, our spatial AI techniques can really zoom in and actually interpret what is happening inside of that visual information. And so what we can really do then is really unlock the power of AI and start to expose that to you all in interesting ways, and we're excited to do that through a search capability. Search is something that we've thought about for a long time. It's taken a while for us to really find the right moment to deploy a true search solution for folks. And we're excited now with the advancement of technology to start to expose that to folks. And what we're showing here in this video is through our mobile photos capability and the power of spatial AI, allowing folks to start to search for objects inside of imagery, in this case, ladders, text, an exit sign, potentially text on signs if that's something you're trying to find, but also starting to get at some broader concepts. For instance, if you're trying to look across your image base for where framing might be actually happening, you can type that into a search query and start to see images that look as if framing has started or framing is occurring. And we're really excited about this because this is now the starting point of a whole host of directions that our technology can take us, including starting to take the same technology and applying it to any form of visual imagery that we have, 360 captures, anything eventually that we're compatible with. And that's really where we want to take this. The idea of having one source of truth for all your visual imagery and having that indexable and searchable, we think is a game-changing set of technologies that we're excited to start to expose more people to. And applying this across all of the use cases from progress tracking and beyond are definitely in our interest. But with mobile photos right now, it's really the first of many steps. And this is now a capability that we're going to start to roll more customers onto. So really quickly looking at the roadmap, one slide too far, getting back for a second. Mobile photos and image search, both in beta as we speak. We're going to start to roll customers onto that. If you're interested, again, reach out to your reps, and we're going to start to bring people onto this by the end of 2024. And that includes the auto pinning capabilities, so matching those mobile photos as you upload those to existing captures, but also the manual pinning capabilities when you need that. Image search as well, starting to roll out on the same timeline. And the combination of these two things is really the starting point of us taking a new direction and using AI across our data. And so coming soon beyond that, taking the same techniques, applying that to 360 captures, other data types as well. And really what I wanted to get across here is the fact that this is just the starting point of this. Mike is going to go a little bit more deeper into the core technology here, why it's really exciting and interesting. So stay tuned for that. But tons of great launches that I'm excited to kind of wrap up on with AI. So we've come a long way. We've talked about a number of things around scale and OpenSpace delivering capabilities today, operating at a large scale, but new capabilities like our usage API, as well as a brand new game-changing version of progress tracking in partnership with Disperse to help you deploy progress tracking at enterprise scale. We talked about productivity and how new capabilities like Check Plus, but continued investments in our Field Notes platform will help you get work done in an image-first way more efficiently. We talked about AI and how mobile photos, but as well as spatial AI enabling new things like auto pinning of mobile photos and search will just allow you to get at the context of what's happening on your job sites more quickly as well. And altogether, we think these are going to be tools that will really help you save time, save money, and ultimately operate your job sites more efficiently. So very excited by the roadmap, very excited by the things to come, and very excited to get all of your feedback because customer feedback really truly is the lifeblood of how we take our roadmaps. And with that in mind, I'm going to hand things off so that you can hear more from customers about how they are using and deploying OpenSpace today.